Yes, it's
Welcome to our shir. This is the last shir of the 9 days series from runes to redemption. Yeah, this is the last shir, hopefully the last shir ever before Tisha B'Av, because we're waiting for Mashiach. As of us, this is the sixth, and as far as we know, last shir that goes through the Gemara in Gittin and other sources to tell us more about the Churban. We've been through the stories of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, how everything developed, how everything caused the Churban. We're about to learn the story of a woman called Martha Bat Bytus. She's the star of the show today. Martha, she's the star. Martha Bat Bytus. What?
maybe the after Sukkot.
So, no, that's somebody else. No, this is Miriam Bas Bilga. And I mean, questions are okay when we finish this year because there's a lot to give here. And there's Baruch Hashem, a lot of people in Torah anytime who watch us. So if you have comments or questions, I prefer to keep them for after shir, okay? If you don't mind. Thank you very much. And basically, let me start with a pasuk and a very disturbing story. And then we're going to see the Gemara in Gittin, and everything will work out fine, Bezos Hashem. The pasuk says in Dvarim Kafches, in the bad Nevuas, which we read at the end of the Chumash, Haraka becha v'anuga. The woman amongst you is like, it's not in the Gemara. Haraka becha v'anuga, the one who's soft and gentle, maybe genteel. Ashalonista kafragla hotzeg, the one who never stepped on the ground. A woman who's so gentle and so delicate and so dainty, she never even stepped on the ground. Misane gumiroch. You know what's going to happen to her? Lo leinu, she's going to eat her own children. And there are a few psukim, besulois betzioin inu in Eicha, that they torture the women. There's a special place for women in the story of the Churban. We're going to see the story today of an extremely powerful, politically strong woman, and a very tragic end. What happened to her at the end of her life. And we're going to see the stories of some other women, also from Ksubas, and see what's the common denominator between all of them. So before we continue into Martha Bat Bytus, who was a very choshev, important woman, let's start with another story. Not inside the text. The story, I read it a few times inside. It's in Eicha, Medrash Eicha, Rabati, the first chapter. There were two harlots, two zonos, two prostitutes in Ashkelon. They were not Jewish, rest assured, at least that. And they were not Jewish, and they started fighting with each other. Yeah, it says in the Gemara somewhere the zonos tend to fight with each other. Maybe there's competition, I don't know. Basically, they started fighting with each other, and then one of them told their friend, "Get out of here." I'm quoting the Medrash. "Get out of here. You look like a Jewish woman. Ugh, you look like a Jewish woman. Get out of my sight." And then they kept fighting. And then eventually they made peace. Eventually they, we call sulcha, they said sorry to each other and became friends again. And then one of them told the other, "I can forgive you for everything you told me. All the insults you threw at me, I can forgive you. But I cannot forgive you for calling me a Jewish woman." This is like the worst insult possible. Says the Gemara, this is what the pasuk says in Eicha when it says, "Re'eh Hashem, see Hashem be'oni, my poverty, my destitute situation, ki hayiti zoylelo, I became cheap." We became so cheap in the eyes of the goyim. Even those women, they are literally the lowest of the low of the social echelon. Even those women despise Jewish girls, Jewish women, and treated them as dirt, as if saying a Jew is a dirty word. It reminds us of Nazi Germany, right? So basically, those things still go on. And this showed us how women's beauty, how women's gentleness was despised and was basically stepped all over and belittled by the Goyim. And that was part of the tragedy, how women's image was so low in the eyes of their non-Jewish counterparts. Even such low people, even they dare to talk like that and think like that. So before we continue to Martha Bat Bytus, there's a little bit of a debt over here. I want to close the circle. Yesterday, we spoke about one of the three richest men in Yerushalayim, Nakdimon ben Gurion, right? Nakdimon ben Gurion. So Nakdimon ben Gurion was one of the three richest people. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, Nakdimon ben Gurion, fine. Nakdimon ben Gurion, we said, was a tzaddik, was a very special person, right? He had a nace happening to him. And yet, something very interesting is going on over here. The Gemara in Ksubas Daf Samech Vav Amud Beis, the Gemara says a story about the daughter of Nakdimon ben Gurion. The daughter of Nakdimon ben Gurion, in her good times, in her prime time, when she was a Jap, whatever, when she was a Choshev, a princess, yeah. So what was she? Chachamim decided there was a dispute between her and her husband. According to Tosfos, they were still married. Her husband and her did not know how much money does he have to give her every day for cosmetics. Yeah, for besomim, for perfume, and for besomim. Tosfos says does mean besomim means perfume, and it says women in Yerushalayim did not have to perfumate themselves to put perfume because there's such good smell from the ketores. The ketores, the incense, basically permeated. The earth was permeated with a good smell, but she still had a lot of cosmetics, v'chulei, makeup. Ask your wives, your daughters; they'll tell you all about it. Yeah, I have 7 girls, so I know a lot about these things. Bekitzer, so then Chachamim decided they sided with the husband and told her she's only going to get 400 zehuvim, 400 gold coins worth a day for cosmetics. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. Amar lahem, kach tifsekula b'noi seichem. This is what you should allot for your own daughters. The Gemara doesn't say if that's good or bad. So look to the Medrash. The Medrash said it was a curse. She cursed them because according to her high standard, it's not enough. 400. You think your wife spends on cosmetics and perfume? Get some ideas. So she said she didn't think there was enough. The daughter of Nakdimon ben Gurion, ve'onachrea omein. However, Chachamim said omein. Maybe because for them, as regular people, that was a lot. A millionaire would curse you. You should only have, I don't know, 20,000 shekels a day to spend. What a curse for him, but for me, that's great. Yeah, so these were her standards. And then comes another story, and this is more of a tragic story. That was at the beginning. That was her discussion was 400 zuz, golden coins a day, just from her cosmetics is not enough for her. Okay, that's a nice expensive girl, okay, fine, very good. Now, Rabbeinu Yochanan ben Zakkai one time was riding on a donkey, was going out of Yerushalayim, and that was already in the time of the Churban. And his people, Talmid of Mehalchin Achrov, his disciples walked after him. They saw a girl that collected the se'orim. She collected the pieces of barley, the grains of barley from the dung, from the excrement of the animals of the Arabs. So I'm sorry for the racism, and I hope I'm not going to get off YouTube now. I hope they don't, excommunicate me for life. But Rashi says later on, Arabs are in Uma Shfela. The Aravim are low life of a nation because they live in tents in the desert, like the Bedouin. They're not stable. Yeah, that's why they're low lives. We can give other reasons too. But in any event, yeah, so that lady, that girl, was collecting, the hunger was so terrible, she collected a Michael Behema. Se'orim, she collected actually from the dung of the animals of the Arabs. How low can you get? Michael Behema from the the poop, sorry, of the excrement of the animals of the lowest nation, the lowest of the lowest of the low. She saw him. Kevan Sharata Oisoi. She saw Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Nisatzu Besara. She collected her hair. She covered herself with her hair. Maybe she was not dressed. I don't know. She stood in front of him and she said, "Parneseni, give me parnoso. Rabbi, give me some parnoso." That kind of poverty. I don't think even nowadays, that kind of stories you don't even read in all these tragic pamphlets of the Vada Rabbanim. This is insane. Amarla, who are you? Amarla Bas Nakdimon ben Gurion. She is that one who wanted for her 400 zehuvim a day for, I don't know, Estee Lauder, for the mascara, for the foundation. I know all these things for my daughters, yeah? Oh, for all the makeup, it wasn't enough for her. Laser and all that. No. 400 zehuvim a day wasn't enough. She's now collecting the dung from the dung of the animals. So then, basically, it's all give and take. She was rich from her father's side, from her father-in-law's side. Basically, there's all give and take, and I don't want to spend too much time, but basically, he claimed, and she said, do you remember how much Mekisuba was? He said, yeah, elef alofin dinar izov. 1,000 times 1,000, that's how much? Million, right? Dinar izov, 1,000,000 golden coins was her ksuba, besides the father-in-law. And there was also from the other side, fine. So then, and then there was a give and take, and he claimed her father did not give tzedakah. which is surprising because Nakdimon Ben Gurion who said was yes about tzedakah. We're going to discuss that later. But in any event, you see the tragedy. Bochar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai cried. He saw that woman who was the richest of the rich, crazy, filthy rich, as they say, and that's from from riches to rags. You can say that again, into eating from the dung, from the collecting from the dirt. The Omar, Rabbi Yochanan said, "Ashreichem Yisrael." Ashreichem, good for you, happy are you Yisrael. Bisman she'esin ratzon shel mokom en kol uma veloshon sheletes bohem. When you do what Hashem tells you to do, nobody can control you. That's the time of Shlomo HaMelech. That's the early times of Beis HaMikdash. That's the way it should be. Even the early years of Bais Sheni, when Shimon HaTzadik was still there, were not as good as Bais Rishon, but we had good control over the country, and everyone looked up to us, and we were the top of the world. We all know, we all get these, emails and WhatsApps about how Jews are amazing and Nobel Prizes and all that, right? We have a lot of potential. We can rule the world. You say as a joke, the anti-Semites are right about one thing. The Jews control the world. It's true. Not the way they mean it. Spiritually speaking, we can control the world with Torah. But we can be the best. When we don't do what Hashem says, then Hashem gives us to the lowest of the low of the nations. Not only we are given into the hands of the low lives of a nation, we were under the ruling of the animal, of the dung of the animal of Why is it a good thing? Why is Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai who's crying about this girl? I think the idea is, and we can all feel the same, right? The say Tisha B'Av this year and last year is you don't have to remember the past. The 7th of October, people, wearing the flip-flops, not even an army, they came and they destroyed an entire country within one day. We were given to the lowest of the low of the nations. Palestinians are known to be the lowest of the Arabs. Even people in the United Arab Emirates look down at them, and many others. And we are given into the hands, we're fighting, we're trying, of course, but conceptually, we're fighting with the lowest of the low. Why is that a good thing? It's a good thing? Because the greater you are, the greater is your Yetzer Hara. When you're climbing a little hill, a little mound, and you fall, there's a boo-boo. When you climb Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever, Rock of Gibraltar, I can relate to it more. You fall from there, falling to the sea, not so bad, yeah? You fall from the Rock of Gibraltar, you're going to die, right? You fall from Empire State Building, you're going to die. Meaning the higher we are, and we are high. Jews are high people, we're like the stars. But when we're not stars, we become like sand. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu shows you either in the top, you're in the bottom, you can't be normal people. Jews will never be normal people. We can't just live like people in Sweden or New Zealand, lives our lives happily ever after. Either we serve Hashem, and then we aspire higher and higher, and we become the best, or we're given to the lowest of the low to show that the expectation, the potential is so much greater, is so high. If you fall from that potential, you fall all the way down. And that daughter of Nakdimon Ben Gurion, much more was expected of her. She was a spoiled brat, L'choira, according to the Gemara. I'm not saying that. I'm a bit scared to talk about it like that of people from the Gemara, but that's what it sounds like. And then there's the point of expectation from her father as well. She was out of touch with reality, I guess, what was going on before the Churban. Now let's listen to what we have to say about her father. Nakdimon Ben Gurion, the Gemara is saying, law of tzedakah? He's saying he was not about tzedakah, Nakdimon Ben Gurion? Is that so? It says, Omar of Nakdimon Ben Gurion, he was a balabas who used to sit and learn. He used to go to Daf Yomi. He would go from his house to Beis Medrash, a good, frum, Orthodox gvir, balabait. And he would go from his house to shul. The entire way, similar to Tzitzis HaKesses, if you remember, the entire way was padded with cushions, and the poor people would come and fold it under him, right? In other words, as he was walking along, the poor people would bow down behind him and kind of roll it behind him. So l'chora, you see that what? People, maybe they kept those matzoim. He gave tzedakah to Danim. There was a relationship there. I assume they kept those carpets, whatever. Answers the Gemara, l'chvoida yudovad. Wow, what an expectation. He gave tzedakah, but it was for his own honor. Was for his own glory. He wasn't so mahudar. And Iboy Sema, or It says Lepum Gam Shichna. There was more expectation from him. Says Rashi Lefi Koch Hagama Litinel Masa. He could have given more. He was so rich. Who was the richest of them all? Like Diman Ben Gurion, if you remember yesterday's year. Like Diman Ben Gurion again. That's beautiful. Who had the highest spiritual potential of all three? Who was the richest and the one who experienced almost open miracles? Out of the three, Ashir, we spoke about yesterday. Yesterday we did the Forbes magazine, the People magazine, Lavdil, yeah? The three richest, yeah? Nagdiman Ben Gurion, and Kabel Savua and Tzitzis HaKeses. Nagdiman Ben Gurion was a person who witnessed miracles. Nagdiman Ben Gurion was a person with a crazy, colossal amount of money. So I guess expectation was so high from him to give more and to give with more finesse and give with more good midos, right? And therefore, this happened. And his daughter is now suffering so much because there was more expected of him. Not easy to be a Jew. I know it's not nice to say not easy to be a Jew, but I'm not saying it's not easy. If there's more, there's a lot expected of us. We can reach very high and we can love Hashem and be connected. I heard a story which I didn't plan to say now. I don't remember where I heard it recently, maybe in Vayman, maybe somewhere else, maybe in one of the Alonim. They were saying that a Jew, a Yid met somebody from Central America. I don't think he ever saw Jews, one of the Christians from Guatemala or something like that. And he met the Jew in Europe and he said, which language are you talking? He said Hebrew. He said, are you Jewish? He said, wow, you're the son of God and you're holy. And tell me, what do you think about when you walk down the street? That's what the guy who hardly ever saw Jews said, you're a Jew, you're different. What kind of thoughts go through your mind when you walk down the street? Unbelievable, from hearing it from the mouth of a guy. There's so much expected of us and we can reach so high. But if you don't do that, we fall so low. That's the idea. So I had to bring in this Gemara because the issue today is women and the whole ksuba business, and also because to show us on Nekdimon Ben Gurion, again, expectations. He was high, we expected even higher from him. With that in mind, let's continue to the next piece in what I would call our Gemara. So now we know that the hunger started. We left off yesterday with the Biryonim, the thugs. They decided to burn all three storage rooms of the rich people. Yeah? You watched it online? Very good. I missed you yesterday. So, no, Baruch Hashem, for internet, for the good things. So now, what do we see? Everything was burnt. The Biryonim did not listen to those old rabbis. And now the city is under siege and dying from hunger. I would like to think the Nekdim and Ben Gurion, amongst the other two, wanted to be metakin, right? They now decided we'll feed everybody. We will not discriminate. I'm sure Nekdim and Ben Gurion did do tshuva, or was trying to do tshuva. He would have supported everyone for 21 years, right? And he was praised for that, but it's too late. The Biryonim, they destroyed everything, spiritually and physically. What happened next? Martha Bat Bytus. So much to say about this woman. Martha Bat Bytus, Atirta di Yerushalayim. We can look at the Gemara. I can't really count the lines. Some are more or less in the middle of the page. Line starts with the word dechiti. Krova, then dechiti v'sari. It's kind of more or less in the middle of the wide lines, of the middle lines. Gittin. I said we're only going to open Gittin, not to confuse you. You can share with our parents. No? Nun Vav Amud Aleph, the same as yesterday. Yeah. Nun Vav. You know it's Nun Vav because we say no. Mashiach should come already. That's a good way to remember. No, but I'm saying no, Mashiach. Kafna, Martha, but there was hunger. Kafna, Martha Bat Bytus, Martha from the Bytus family, Atirta di Yerushalayim Havia. She was the rich woman of Yerushalayim. She was number one rich woman in Yerushalayim. Shadarta l'shlucha. She sent her messenger. V'amrle. She told him, Zil, go. Aitili smida. There was hunger in town. What's she asking? I want the most refined bread from refined flour. Okay, very nice. She wanted the best bread, or maybe it was flour or bread. Smida is like soyless, like semolina, like very, very refined flour. It's like Marie Antoinette, right? If there's no bread, they should eat cakes. Ad Ozal, and then he went. He's daben. It was all sold. The moment he entered the Osher Ad or Yesh or wherever that is, or Safeway, what happened? All the nice white bread is gone. Also, Omar La, Smida Leka, I'm sorry, he went back home. He told her, I'm sorry, madam, there's no Smida bread, the top of the top bread, the nice croissant, whatever the best bread is not there. Chivra ta'ika. There's white bread. It's one level below. Amalei zilaitili. Okay, get instead of class A, get class B. Ade Ozal, he went back to the store, to the bakery to get second class. Izdaban, right then, I'm stressing B'Shem the Maharal, punkt when he came, it was all sold out. Also, V'amar Lizla Chadgadia. Also, V'amar, they can't back in it all. Chivata Leka, they don't have the white bread. Gushke Reika. Gushka means bread that's not refined. Maybe it's healthy. It's still made out of wheat, which is more refined than barley, but it's low. It's like a class C, not A, no B, no C. They slowly go down in the bakery level, and then boom, then it was all finished. Ika, but the sari ika, you know what, lady? There is the fourth lowest one, the lowest kind of bread, which is normally eaten by animal. It's not even the bread. Kimcha de sari. Only the flour. Here it's clear. The flour made out of seorim. That's the only thing that's on sale. Amalei, okay. Pragmatic girl. I must admire her for lowering yourself for that. I guess she was desperate. Zilaitili, okay, bring me the lowest of the low of the bread. Ade Ozal, he went to the store to get the lowest kind of bread. Boom! Just then. Ade Ozal. Ade in Aramaic means just then. Izdaban. Wow. Everything was sold out. All bread in a very, very hungry capital of Israel. All bread is out of the stores, and not because it is Motzei Pesach. No, it was just time of hunger. So she was a very practical woman. Shlifa Mesana. She said, okay, let me put on my shoes. I'll go myself. This messenger, he's not bringing me anything nice. He's telling me everything is closed. Let me go myself, and maybe I'll mashkach and I'll find something nice to eat. Esivla, she went out to the street, which she wasn't used to, because she was one of the women who never touched the ground with her feet, as we'll see later. And Etivla Parta Bikara. Excuse the description. She basically stepped in an animal's poop, in a dung, yeah, in excrement, feces. She stepped into it with a shoe. V'meisa, she died. Happened to all of us every once in a while in our lives. If you live in Tel Aviv or these places, you don't die from it. But she was such a finicky person, she died. Just from the contact with the tzoya, with the excrement, she died right away because she was very, very spoiled woman. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai called upon her. The posuk we started off with, Haraka becho ve'anuga ashalonista kaf raglo. That woman who was so refined, so soft, so gentle, which never touched the ground, look what happened to her. Ikadamri, there's another version of how she died. I really hope we get the entire shir through today, because the end of the shir will show us the two, what's behind the two possible death of Martha Bat Bytus. Way number one, she stepped into the gluk and she died. Ikadamri, another opinion says, she found in the street the grogos, the dry figs that were left from Rabbi Tzadok. She ate them. She got like oines. She was forced into death. She got sick and she died. What's the story with Rabbi Tzadok's dried figs? The Rabbi Tzadok Yosef Arboin Shonim Tanisa. Rabbi Tzadok sat for 40 years in Tainis. I don't know if he drank, or I don't know, every once in a while, intermittent fasting. I don't know. But 40 years he was he fasted. The Lolicha Yerushalayim. Because he davened and he fasted, so Yerushalayim should not be destroyed. He saw it coming. Yeah? Kihava ochil midi. But when he ate something, meaning, as we said before, it wasn't complete fast for 40 years. He would eat something every once in a while. Hava mitchazi miabroi. Yeah, then you would see it from the outside. He was so thin, like a Muslim, like from the Holocaust. If he ate something, you could see it coming up and down his throat. The Chiavibori, when he finished, maybe finished the entire tainis, when eventually he ate, Maitil Groigois, then they brought him Groigois, they brought him some dried figs, Maitz Mayayu Vishadi Lahu. Yeah, he kind of sucked them, he couldn't eat them, right? People after concentration camp couldn't eat straight away. Some of them died. The American soldiers and the Great Wisdom gave them a lot of food to people who are almost dead. They died just from that. Yeah, there are accounts of that. I know somebody, she was the only one who kept kosher. My mother's friend's mother told us, everyone ate the treif food. This woman, starving, didn't eat the treif food, so she's the only one that survived. A woman told me that, not even a Haredi woman. Unbelievable. So she died from the smell of those groigros. Yeah. Rashi says to Einim, yeah, he couldn't eat anything, and she actually ate those, and she died just from that. from those Gregories. Now, when she died, as she was dying, she took out all her gold or silver. That was a lot, the whole museum, I guess, all Buckingham Palace, yeah? She threw out all the gold and silver artifacts and furniture and kalim. Shadite Beshuka, she threw them into the marketplace. Omro, she said, Hi, Lamayim Baili, what do you need it for? What will I do with it? What will I do with all that? Yeah, my great grandfather had a store before the Holocaust. He had a big fabric store, textile. It was a family business. My father also had it. My grandfather, my great grandfather, and at some point he was a big balzdaka, and he had a large textile store in Krakow, in Poland. At some point, he realized that the Nazis are coming and what's happening. He gave it for everyone for free. He gave it to everyone. He said, "Take all the schar, take it for free. At least he's gonna die with giving tzedakah." It should be Leilun Shmas. It sure is Leilun Shmas. My father, Menachem ben Akiva, and my great grandfather Yitzchak ben Shmuel. V'ainu dechtiv, and that's what the pasuk means when it says, "Kaspam b'chutzes sheshlichu." They will cast, they will throw their silver in the streets. Okay. So, second part of the shir is a little bit academic, but Gemara academic. Who are you, Martha Bat Bytus? Start with the name. Who was that lady, Martha Bat Bytus? Did we ever hear of her in other places in the Shas? I had a bit of a theory before I started, and I was happy to see it was confirmed. What does Mara mean? Mara means a few things in Aramaic. No, okay, there are all types of things. So it means a shovel. Mara means Mara de Shas, Mara de Kula Torah. Mara means master, master, leader. Mara de Kula Alma, Hashem. Yeah, Mara is a master. In Aramaic, when you had a taf before the end of the letter taf, it's feminine. Right? Bara Barta. Marta means a lady. And I saw that in one of the more reliable dictionaries. Yeah? Not only that, you know who is called Marta de Bala? Sorry Menu. The Medrash says, I saw the Medrash says over here, it says Sorry Menu. Usually the man is the one who decides. Those are back in the good old days, yeah? And by Sarah and Avram, Sarah was called Marta. Sarah Menu was called Marta. Why? Not that wasn't her name. Yeah, like Martha, American and English people can relate to the name. No, Martha means she was the head of the house because Sarah Menu was Hashem commanded Avraham Avinu to listen to Sarah. There's an exception to the rule. That's why Sarah is also called Martha. So see, the Martha is the name of somebody who was authoritative. Yeah, the lady. Martha could also mean, though, Miriam in a nickname. Because in other sources, I've seen so many sources for this year, it's insane. I don't remember who says what. I saw Midrashim, instead of Martha, they called her Miriam. Maybe like Miri. Maybe Martha means another form of Miriam. Yeah, Martha. But it could also mean a person who's at the head. Now, the Gemara in Ksubas, whenever the Gemara in Ksubas talks about Ksuba, if you marry a rich girl, you have to give her good Ksuba. She also brings you Ksuba from her own house, the Nichsem Yilug. So now the Gemara, whenever the Gemara wants to give an example for a rich woman, yeah, it says what? Martha Bat Bytus. If you talk about rich people, somebody would ask you for a donation of I don't know $1 million. You think I'm Elon Musk? You think I'm Jeff Bezos? You think I'm Bill Gates? Right? So in the Gemara, a rich woman, the epitome of a rich woman would be who? Martha Bat Bytus. But now we're coming to the Musar part. We're done with the academics. So Martha was a rich woman. Oh no, sorry. There's a big debate. No. Let me start with a story from Maseches Yavamis, yes, from Mechalef and from Yuma, and then we're going to get to that point. The story goes as follows: Martha Bat Bytus was so powerful and so rich, she actually decided behind the scenes. She was a machel. She decided behind the scenes who is going to be no other than the Kohen Gadol. To be the Kohen Gadol was maybe you'll be the one. I'm sitting in front of a Kohen, yeah? To be a Kohen Gadol, you have to be the richest, the smartest, the most tzaddik, the most choshev from all other Kohanim. If you're Mr. Kohen Gadol, you are it. Martha Bat Bytus was an almana who had a lot of money. And she approached Yanai HaMelech after Yoshua ben Gamla. Yoshua ben Gamla was a Kohen. Yoshua ben Gamla was a very good man. Yeshua ben Gamla was the one who started the school system. He is the one who made sure that every child has a way to learn. The whole school system we're also proud of, way before the Goyim dreamt about it. We had our own cheder system. Yeshua ben Gamla, he donated money to Beis HaMikdash. He was a good man. Martha Bat Bytus, she Well, he was Mekadesh her, no Nisun Mekadesh her, gave her the ring. And then she came to Yana Melech and she said, you're going to make my husband the Kohen Gadol, it'll be worth it for you. She bribed the king Yanai to make Yeshua ben Gamla, her husband, the new husband, Kohen Gadol, and so it was. And Chachamim didn't like it. And the Gemara in Yuma, Daf Yudches, says that was the situation in Bais Sheni. Kohanim Gdolim were not exactly where they're supposed to be. They were those who had more money or more connections. And Martha Bat Bytus, she epitomized that. She played the game. She was a woman who was manipulative, and Chachamim did not like that. And behind the scenes, she got her hubby to be Kohen Gadol, and she liked it. You know what else she did, which wasn't essentially bad? She would want to go to Beis HaMikdash to look at her husband reading the Torah. Yeah, the Kohen Gadol and Yom Kippur. And how was that done? Again, no touching the ground for Martha Bat Bytus. There was a whole trail of cushions from her house to Beis HaMikdash, and she would walk on it. And the Medrash says even that made her too tired. It was too much for her to walk even on those cushions, right? Same Martha Bat Bytus. So now stepped into the who. Yeah. So, and then she liked watching her husband, which she paid good money to be, front row. She didn't pay to be front row, you know what I'm saying, yeah? She paid for him to be the Kohen Gadol. That was Martha Bat Bytus. Rich, powerful, manipulative. What's happening now? The same Martha Bat Bytus, says the Maharsha, historically speaking, says the Maharsha, it cannot be the same person. Azoy claims the Maharsha. Too many years passed between one Martha and the other. However, there are midrashim who say otherwise. There is a medrash who says, clearly I've seen a few midrashim, one of them is a very interesting medrash compiled by a Yemenite Rishon, one of the Rishon Temanim, Rav El Damari from Damar, and he brings down medrash I saw in a similar Lashon, and the Lashon is, I'm reading inside, a little bit of inside, my inside, not yours. Here, Maisa ben Miriam Bas Bytus, Yeshua ben Gamla, the whole story, and then Omer Blozer bar Tzodok, says Blozer bar Tzodok, that same Miriam Bas Bytus, or Martha Bat Bytus, clearly the same one. He said, Ere ben Nechom, I swear, Ere ben Nechom is a way of oath, I swear to you, different version to our Gemara, Im loy reisia shekoshrus saoseh biznavi susem shel aravim. You know what they did to her? And the other medrash says they did it to many women. They tied their hair to the tail of the horse and grabbed her. And grabbed her all the way from Yerushalayim to Lod. Yerushalayim to the airport, you know the taxi? So they tied their hair, horrible, into the horse and dragged them along. So I guess it's a machlokes how she died. But according to this opinion and other midrashim, it was the same person. Maybe she was very old. I don't know. And then the chula, the same pasuk. Now, so even if it wasn't her, and the Maharsha says it was another person of the same name, it makes sense because Bytus was a big family, and we know, looking from families, the same name keeps repeating itself many times. So it could be Miriam, Martha was a kept repeated itself. So even if it was her granddaughter, let's say it was a granddaughter, the theory I read. The first one was the one who married Yeshua ben Gamla. It's still the same mentality: rich, spoiled, powerful. It's the same business. It's all in the family. Says the Maharal. We haven't mentioned Maharal today. That's new. The Maharal says something unbelievable. Says the Maharal, what's going on in this story? Every time the guy, her loyal messenger, is going to the bakery, to the store, what's happening to the market? Punkt, then everything's sold out. Whatever he wants is sold out. And instead of having the initiative of buying something new, he has to go back to his master, female master, and again. Says the Maharal, I'm reading inside. Says the Maharal in his beautiful Lashon, Goram Hashem Yisborach Sheyeh Nimkar. Hashem made it on purpose that every time Mr. Messenger, Mr. Butler of the great lady Martha Bat Bytus, every time he's about to enter the shop, sold out, glong. Shekol ze gzeras elyon. It's all gzeras elyon. Shekol asherotzo ashlich likach nimkar lifnei ze. He wanted to buy something, snatched out of him, and Hashem shows it to him again and again and again. V'dover ze nikar. It's evident. Yeah, ki dvar men gzer men Hashem Yisborach. Kidei shedu hakol ki min Hashem Yisborach dvorim elu. Everyone should see, including Mrs. Martha, they should all see that Hashem is the only one providing. Meaning, look what's going on here. You, Martha, you or your grandmother, you or your ilk, your type of people, according to the Medrash, was the same person, yeah? People there, by the way, lived 200 years. She would have been 200, and people there, age in the times of Tanakh or by Beis HaMikdash is different to today. That Martha, you want to move mountains with your money? You do things against Chazal. She wasn't the worst person. She wanted somebody orthodox to be a Kohen Gadol. That's nice, yeah? But not the right way. You're using your money to manipulate, using your money to move mountains, to be the mover and shaker, to be the macher. Some people are very good machers. I'm not saying. You're doing macherai the wrong way. Hashem shows you that if he doesn't want, you can't even have a piece of bread. The most basic food, you, Mr. I'll know, I'll manage, I'm rich, I'm powerful, I don't touch the ground, I have my own thing, I'm this high fly kind of business lady. In one instant, Hashem shows you 4 times over that he so much so controls the world completely. And in a way, it was a zchus for her, because through her, other people saw it as well. To her credit, I must say that she learned a lesson. She learned the lesson and she threw the gold and silver. Other people would have kept the gold and silver till the end of till the last moment. Some people are addicted to that. She did learn the lesson. I want to say something else. We see another concept which is also to do with the Churban. Hashem did something almost supernatural, which we would call Hashgacha Pratis. Hashgacha Pratis, every time he went to the store, everything is sold out. You think I'm crazy, right? Because Hashgacha Pratis is always positive, right? Somebody told me, oh, such Hashgacha Pratis. I went into the store and Punkti was open. Wow. Hashgacha Pratis and Punkti, and I got the phone call from a guy from 10 years ago. No. Hashgacha Pratis could also be Kivyochel against you. You know who says that? The Ritva. The Ritva in Human Undaladum Base, one of my favorite, those who know me know my relationship with the Ritva. The Ritva talks about the Kruvim. This is spoken a lot by many speakers. The Kruvim, the two, so to speak, angels, either they were real statues or the one that were painted, whatever, it's machlokes. As the Goyim destroyed Beis HaMikdash Hasheni, the Kruvim were hugging each other. Does make sense, right? Because it says, actually, that when Hashem is angry with us, the Kruvim are not facing each other. They're facing away from each other. The Kruvim were presented like a man and a woman, were hugging each other as the Mikdash was destroyed, and the Goyim made fun of us. And the Goyim said, those Jews, look what's inside the Holy of the Holies, said the Romans. They said that we Romans are, Kivyochel, excuse my language, dirty-headed. They have a man and woman statue, like in some museum in Paris or something, yeah? That's what they have, And it was part of the oynish, part of the punishment. The Ritva is asking a question, hello? How come the Kruvim at the time of the Churban were hugging? They're supposed to be away. So the famous answer is, really, in Tisha B'Av, Hashem really loved us and didn't hate us. The Ritva doesn't say that. The main answer is, it was the Nes Lero'o. That's his Lashon. No, excuse me. Yeah. He says that. Yeah, he says, Nasa Nes Lero'o K'delgalas Elvosom. Hashem made a Nes that the Kruvim would hug each other, not even face each other. They had mamash limbs like hugging each other. Hashem made a Nes Lero'o. In other words, sometimes Hashem works miracles for our benefit, and sometimes Lero'o. Of course, the Ra is also good. Why did Hashem want to show the Nes Lero'o? So the Goyim should make fun of us. Why should the Goyim make fun of us? Because we made fun of each other. Sinas Chinam. You make fun of the guy who's not so rich, not so famous, not so this, who's stuttering, who's not as tall and handsome, not as rich, not as frum. Okay, now the Goyim will make fun of our religion. And there was a Nes Lero'o here too. The Hashgacha was working against him. He wanted the bread, boom, punk that type was sold out. But Martha learned her lesson at the end of her life. That's the way I see it. Unless it's urgent.
No, I just
Yeah.
during that time when they bought the Kohen Gadol position, it
Yeah.
only lasted until Yom Kippur. And then
Okay,
when
we're
saying someone else like
she was covered. Yeah.
gotten the message much earlier.
Okay, I hear.
Right?
Fine, I hear. The Maharal, before we come to the real finishing line, the Maharal discusses beautifully, and Bochum, we have time for that. I appreciate you coming early today. The Maharal discusses beautifully the death of Martha Bat Bytus. Look what's going on over here. Either she died by stepping with her foot into the dung, or by smelling the groigeres of the biggest tzaddik ever. These are the groigeres, the dried figs. What? Yes, I'm talking the Gemara. I'm now the Gemara. Thank you, but I'm the Gemara now. Basically, these are two extreme opposites. You can't be more extreme, more polarized than that. What's the lowest part of the body? The foot. It's hard, it's harsh, it's kicking, it's strong, it's physical. The Nazis with their boots, yeah, I relate a lot to the Holocaust because it's Tisha B'Av almost, yeah. And then what? The dung, excrement on the ground. That's the lowest kind of death. Or she smelt the smell of the gregaris of the biggest tzaddik. Smell, we spoke in one of the shurim about the sense of sight and the sense of speaking, of speech. They can move mountains and do a lot more than the physical body. That's true. You can talk and convince everybody to be frum and start a whole tshuva movement, as we, Baruch Hashem, there are people. Or you can kill 6 million people in gas chambers through your crazy German rhetoric. You can do a lot with your mouth. And your vision, you can reach, the sky and the stars and the biggest tuma and the biggest kedusha with your eyes. You learn Torah with your eye. You look at an appropriate movie, the eye. However, the sense of smell is the most spiritual one. Ruach, reach. Reach, smell is ruach, spirit. The Hasidic Sfarim say, as we don't have time, as we go through the parsha of the Chet Adam Arishon, Adam and Chava, the only sense that's not mentioned there is the smell. She did not smell the fruit, even though it was an esrog according to the Medrash. In other words, she touched the tree, she spoke to what's his name, to the Nachosh, she obviously tasted, and so did he, but there was no sense of smell, so the smell remains more ruach. So also Mashiach, when Mashiach comes, it says, Ve'ericho b'iras Hashem. He will smell and be able to tell who is a tzaddik, who is a rasha. The guy who looks like a big tzaddik with a big face and a frock would be the biggest manuval, and the guy who seems like a very simple Jew, very religious, could be a tzaddik. He'll smell. What does smelling mean? Meaning you get the feel of what's the spiritual message. What does the person radiate spiritually? Yeah? That's ruach and ech. She smelled the gregaris of the biggest tzaddik. So either she died a very lowly death or a very spiritual death. Now, on top of that, we can say, look at, why did she die from the gregaris of Rab Tzadok? Yeah, you can say, because it didn't smell nice. Because when a person doesn't brush his teeth for 40 years, I'm sorry to say, maybe it's not respectful, but it's not nice, right? Especially a finicky woman like her. I think there's another message, and I'll finish with my own chiddush, because there were two opposites. What did he actually do? The one, Rabbi Tzadok, the tzaddik, for 40 years did his best to help her nation with tremendous Mesiras Nefesh. He literally fasted, whatever that means. For 40 years, he was there for the nation, fasting, praying, meditating, not to have the Churban. What was she doing at the same time? Being the personal helper of the Knesset member, one of these people who like to pull strings, right? And maybe she meant well. But Lamaisa, she was doing more or less the opposite. When the two worlds meet together, when her mouth, when her nose, that's my idea, I don't know if it's true or wrong, when her nose meets the grogers that he ate that represent 40 years of suffering for the nation, she can't take it. It's like a blozer bender die. It's too much for her. Yeah, and then she dies. What can we learn from this shiurim? Baruch Hashem, we're in the 6th year. Let's try and get some positive, practical messages in the next 5 minutes that we have. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't prepare. No, really. No, this 5 minutes are about to... No, I prepared the rest of the thing. Because of this shiurim, I'm 2 days behind my regular learning, by the way. Basically, what can we learn from the beginning of the series till now? What are the practical messages that we can take with us? I can share ideas with you, you can share ideas with me. Of course, avas chinam, right? That's one thing. Yeah, don't feel complacent. Avas chinam, sinas chinam comes from I'm smug, I'm good, I'm rich, powerful. My name is Kamtza's friend. My name is the rich guy. My name is Martha Bat Bytus. My name is I'm okay. I'm cool, and will always be that way. I will always live in some nice town in America and in Europe, in Israel even, and I'll be okay. I'm rich, powerful, from a good family. I can kick out all the meshulachim, all the poor people. No, never, ever, ever, everything like that. Things can always change, and we're being taught that through the Churban and so many other times, the Holocaust, 7th of October. Always be super sensitive, even to the poorest person around you. I think that's the second message. What's another message? Took the words out of my mouth. Listen to that story. Don't work with your own emotions, even when you mean well. Those biryonim, which we all want to kill, like you read a book or, you want to kill that guy who's doing everything wrong. We feel like, strangulating this biryonim, yeah? But they thought they were doing the right thing. When they burnt all the food of Yerushalayim, yeah, they want to get everyone into action. Don't be such, nerds. Fight and fight the Romans. They meant well, but they were driven by emotions, not by seichel. And the one who will give you seichel when you're in intersection is das Torah. That's another lesson. So at least we have 3 lessons. I think I had a few more, and I'm willing to hear more. But yes, what would you like to say?
There's piety, and then there's the appearance of piety. The
Yeah.
problem is that oftentimes in Adam, we can't see what is piety. But one thing for sure we know, Kadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what piety.
I think what you said, I want to connect to what you said, and then we really have to finish. The concept, very nice, beautiful, Yaakov. The only one who'll know what's real. Oh, thank you. Let me just rephrase myself. The chiddush I came up with, amongst many other chiddush, something that came new. I really enjoyed giving this because so many things. I met so many new ideas myself, and I think one of the newest ideas was when it's sinas china means your avodas Hashem is also false. Remember, we spoke about Beis Hamikdash not really radiating real kedusha. When you're the frumi and you shomer lush and shomer naim, but everybody has to know you're the tzaddik in my family. We have it. I can't take it. I'm sorry. I know I'm online and I'm getting a little bit too personal, too crazy here. Like, you have these people say, in our family, the Zaydis and the Bubis were all tzaddikim, and our children are all perfect. The guy stinks. In other words, you kilu so frum and so shomer naim and shomer everything, and all with the right Haredi levush and everything. And but the guy is to know, because you're so in the one. When you say my family and my yeshiva and my chassidus and my Eidah and my shul, you're trying to say that others are not as good as you. You can say, in my family we have this minhag. Okay, say it humbly. But when you say my yichus and my thing, it's all my, it's not about Hashem, it's about you. So sinas chinam really means, and this closes the circle beautifully. You know what the Gemara in Yuma Daf Tes says, the Gemara we started off with? That sinas chinam is tantamount equivalent to Gimel Averes Chamuros. The first Beis HaMikdash was Necher because of Gimel Averes Chamuros, the worst. When you're Balgaiva, you hate the other one, they don't dress as frum as we do. Then what? Then really, you are not serving Hashem, you're serving yourself. And a person who serves himself, either him or his children, can fall into the worst of the sins because you're in the wrong direction. In a positive way, let's take it positively and stop with my criticism. And basically, let's really try to serve Hashem for the purpose of Hashem, to serve Hashem for the purpose of our nation, to share Torah, to share values, to see what's good with the other person we can learn from. Don't close yourself to my family, my yeshiva, my chassidus, my thing. What do the others say? Maybe you can learn something from other people. And I want to tell you something very, very personal. In those past few days I gave this year, somebody brought today to our house a booklet from a certain group, which I'm not so fond of these people. I mean, their shkaf is different to ours. And then I said, maybe they have something to teach me. And I started flipping through the booklet, and I said, wait, I don't agree with everything they say there, but maybe there's something you can learn from them too. Yeah, let's be more dynamic. Let's learn one group from the other. Let's not just keep it that way, keep it that way. Then the light will spread all over the world. And the light of Mashiach will come here soon, very, very soon. Be'ezus Hashem. Thank you for being with me through this entire series. Thank you for being part of the journey. And may we'll watch it together when Mashiach comes. No, we'll run to Beis Hamikdash. Have a great, great night. And if he's not here yet, then have a meaningful fest. Thank you.